Today I'm gonna show you how to destroy the bone ball on the bone zone in Vampire Survivors. I've already done this in the past and it led to the worst rated video on my channel, making me believe that it doesn't work due to constant complaints, and when I recently reset my game to replay through it in a single video, I was scared just how difficult it may be. Is that it? Here? Oh yeah, here it is. So, okay, this actually works really well. Nope, he's eating. Okay, that's horrible. What? All of this effort for this? The dude just farted and died. Yeah, as it turns out, maybe the problem is not exactly the guide, but how people follow it, so please pay attention. Whenever the bone ball gets close enough to another enemy, it will absorb them and grow in HP. And this is pretty much an exponential scaling, because the bigger it gets, the more enemies it will hit, and suddenly it's so big that it outgrows the damage that you're dealing. Somewhat, because there are ways to deal with that. Do not buy bonus curse or just disable it, and for the stage settings all you require is hyper mode and arcanas. The by far best way to deal with it is Infinite Corridor, a weapon that you unlock after the Moongolo special event where you get the yellow sign and you require the gold ring and the silver ring to evolve the clock lancet. Every single time it goes off, it halves the HP of every single enemy on the screen, meaning a character with a lot of cooldown reduction especially benefits from this, and once you have this, it shouldn't take long until the bone ball will die. On top of that, get some weapons that have a huge amount of reach, AoE and damage or knockback, just to make sure that no one gets close, so something like Death Spiral and Firachi is amazing, though I'll have a list on the screen what works especially well. And in a case where you don't have Infinite Corridor unlocked yet, just make sure that you have single target weapons like I did in the video, so something like Thousand Edge and Holy Wand is amazing to make sure that the bone ball won't survive for very long. For the character selection, simply plan out your build and decide what you require, though any character with bonus cooldown reduction or might scaling is amazing for this. Leda, for example, starts with more cooldown reduction and a might bonus, but Pugnala has the two guns already, the components for the Firachi, and she gains 1% bonus might every single level up. Area bonuses are also amazing since they mean that the enemies get killed more easily and can't reach the bone ball, but aside from that, anyone who supports you to kill the ball faster or to keep the enemies away is an amazing choice. Finishing now the general advice, I will go into very specific builds that work well to kill the bone ball. For the first special showcase, use Leda, who gains bonus cooldown but a huge amount of might scaling, and the starting arcana is Silent Old Sanctuary. As you walk down, try to walk through the enemies so you get some experience. We are mostly looking for Empty Tome, and if you limit your weapons to just one, this means that you will only see items, so it should be fairly simple to get it. Whenever you can reroll either into Duplicator or Empty Tome, you don't really care about anything else. Spinach is also nice because it's a small bonus damage boost, but honestly it's not that much of a difference because this character already has so much. Because the bone ball is quite far away, I prefer to walk bottom right instead of just straight to the bottom, because otherwise you'll miss the bone ball and it will take longer. As you approach the bone ball, make sure that you try to keep away the enemies, so if you notice that they are walking in, try to walk around the bone ball just to hit them away. As you can see, my projectiles are getting shot through it since the weapon has piercing, and this makes it a lot easier to keep the enemies out of reach. Well, that sucks a little bit. If that happens, simply use a banish because, well, then it can't appear anymore and we only care about things that actually make us stronger. I will keep circling it. There were just a couple of enemies that walked into it, but that's totally fine. As long as it's just a few, some of them you won't be able to prevent. But this character has so much damage that it shouldn't be a problem. And yes, even something like Bracer doesn't really change all too much. Technically speaking, you could take it, just that it shoots a little bit faster. Though only the projectile flies faster. And there we go, less than 2.5 minutes in. The bone ball is defeated. For the second showcase I will use Red Death, a character that is incredibly fast and has a small might bonus, though he loses the bonus cooldown reduction that Leda had. Yet again you want to go for Silent Old Sanctuary, Sketamari, and this time it is a little bit smarter to just farm for a moment. The enemies will die fairly quickly because you have such a powerful weapon, and the goal is that you go for spinach, you go for candelabrador, you go for cooldown reduction, and you go for duplicator. You don't have to fully max them out, just make sure that you get some levels in them. Anything pretty much helps. Especially Empty Tome is important to make sure that you can shoot away the enemies, so I would say you go down there once you have Empty Tome level 4 or level 5, and Duplicator is maxed out to have more projectiles and to make sure that the enemies can't approach the Bone Ball. It is not necessary, but the less you have of these things, the more likely it becomes that the enemies will walk in and just make it grow. So yeah, take your time if you struggled with this so far. As I'm walking down in zigzag, you'll notice we are not even that far away, like I just walked for a little bit, and this is how far we've gotten just because this character has so much bonus movement speed. And there we have Empty Tome maxed out. That is beautiful, especially the last level has insane amounts of value because the less cooldown you have, the more significant these flat bonuses become. And there we go, there's the Bone Ball. Do you see the damage that we are dealing to it? Now in this case we have to be a little bit more careful because the knockback is not as strong, meaning I have to walk with it from time to time, and every single time we'll level up from this, we will just go for spinach. There we go, very good. You may notice that enemies almost manage to walk in, and sometimes they will. That simply means if you can, go for area. Even though might means that you kill the Bone Ball faster, it's way worse if enemies manage to walk in and give it bonus health. And just in case you're attending these things and you do not have Silent Old Sanctuary, then don't expect the same results. For the Holy Wand and also for the Death Spiral, you can definitely take the bouncing one and hope that it works out, but it's random and it's not a guarantee. So if you don't have Silent Old Sanctuary, just quickly get it so you can progress with this. And there we go, almost 3 minutes in and the Bone Ball has died. Next up is Gallo, limit his weapons to just 2. And what you're looking for is again Silent Old Sanctuary, and on the first level up you want to have Magic Wand. Technically speaking, Lightning Ring is also possible, but it is a little bit too random, though its damage is a lot higher. Try to get Empty Tome as fast as possible. This character will struggle a lot more. He's by far not as powerful as Leda, so on the first level up, make sure you get it. And now we already have 60% cooldown reduction. The maximum in this game is 90%, after that it just doesn't have an effect, and if you notice that you don't find the Empty Tome at all and you're running out of rerolls, then simply banish. The Magic Wand will need to reach level 7, because then it gains Pierce. That means you will be able to attack the Bone Ball and shoot through him, though as a quick note, right now I'm using the characters that I have listed early on as viable characters to do this with, but right now I'm showing you cheesy strategies. So when I gave you these characters, what I meant is play a full game, get a proper build, and then just destroy him. And this here is rather, if you don't really want to do that and you just want to cheese it, well, then this is a way of doing it. We want to farm until around minute 3. This is where a boss spawns and drops a chest, so we just get a few free level ups. That also means you want to make sure that you don't pick up any garbage, or else it may get randomly leveled up. One thing that you can definitely do is, when you have a level up just with the Clock Lancet and you're slowly running out of rerolls, simply banish it. You don't need to upgrade it, it doesn't really have a benefit at all. And one mechanic that may be interesting to you is this game likes to show you the stuff that you have in the very first slot. Depending on your luck, that odd is higher. So the moment you banish the Clock Lancet, it can't appear anymore, and instead it will try to recommend you the Magic Wand. Yep, flawlessly. We just reached 2 minutes and we are about to max out the Magic Wand. The Duplicator is also important, but this is the time where I'll start walking down. I still want to farm experience, so I will do it in a zigzag pattern where I can just pick up a bunch of experience while also walking down. We pretty much want to reach the Bone Ball at around 3 minutes. This is where we get the chest, and this is also when we'll start attacking it. One thing you should also know is that level 20 takes an insanely long time to level up, so before you reach that, make sure that you got everything locked in, otherwise it will take long, and I'll pretty much just walk straight down. We reached minute 3, that means there should be a boss around, and there he is. He's not a problem because we are so powerful. It is a single chest and I got a level up in spinach, and now I'm pretty much done, meaning I'll just walk down and meet up with the Bone Ball. As you may have noticed, we are pretty much doing exactly the same thing as Leda is doing, except that we have less damage but a little bit more cooldown. You have to spin around the bone ball to make sure that all of the enemies are dying, just the same way we are doing it with Leda. And if everything was done right, then the bone ball shouldn't be able to move. Sometimes he will move a little bit forward but get pushed back again. And whenever you see these red gems around, that means there's a bunch of experience accumulated, and you could even go out and pick it up. I will go for Candelabrador to make sure that we hit more enemies with our projectiles. But yeah, you could definitely try to pick them up, though I wouldn't really advise it unless it's right next to you. Reason being, even if just a few enemies manage to go in, then this will take a lot longer, and these red guys, they respawn whenever they died. Well, there we go, 4.5 minutes in, and he's done. Next up we have Arca La Donna. Arca is pretty much exactly like Gallo, getting bonus cooldown reduction, with the slight help that his weapon actually attacks the enemies, though we don't even want to put too many level ups into Fire Wand. Maybe we'll go for 2 to 4 at max, but we need to make sure that we, you know what, we'll just pretend that was Empty Tome, okay? But yeah, don't put too many level ups into Fire Wand because it will take way too much time, and if you run out of time, around 4 to 5 minutes is where a lot of very annoying enemies spawn, and that would mean if the bone ball is still alive, you will pretty much lose. There, we have Duplicator, perfect, we have the 2 passives that we want. Don't worry, by the way, if you die, it doesn't make a big difference, so that does mean don't walk into the bone ball while you circle it, otherwise, well, I mean, the run is over, I think that's a given. Now, the Fire Wand is annoying me a lot right now. I will instead go for like maybe 2 more level ups in it at max, and then I will banish it just like I did with the Clock Lancet. It may not sound intuitive to get rid of such a powerful weapon, it already deals 80 damage and it's only level 3, but the main issue is, and you'll notice that when you circle the bone ball, it rarely ever hits it because it's just random what it hits. So while it's definitely a bigger help than something like the Clock Lancet that deals 0 damage, it's also not a great help because most of the times it will not end up hitting the bone ball. So yeah, on level 4 I'll just banish it, and now we should get the magic wand most of the time. We are now 2.5 minutes in, and this is again where I go over to the zigzag pattern and slowly walk down. We still want to reach level 20 because this is another 5% cooldown reduction on this character, and we want to get the boss chest just for free level up. But this is the final level up that we'll need in the magic wand, so instead I will take the spinach. There's one more level up planned, which is the level 20, so at that point I will reroll to guarantee that we get the magic wand, and we'll start taking on the bone ball. And there's the boss, that should again be very quickly done. Yep, perfect, you're maxed out, that means spinach is what we'll get out of the chest. Perfect, and we had 3 minutes and 6 seconds. We are on a timer, I kind of have to hurry with this. At 4 minutes the red skeletons spawn that revive, and at 5 minutes there are enemies that shoot bullets. And bullets are considered enemies, meaning if they hit the bone ball will grow. Taking a look at our cooldown reduction at level 20, we have 87%, that is the 5 base, 32% from Silent Old Sanctuary, 40 from Antitome, and 10 from the double 5% that we gain every 10 level ups. We're about to meet up with the bone ball, it should actually be right below us, and there we go, now we will just dance around it. If you're lucky, your Fire Wand will shoot at it a couple of times, but most of the enemies are, well, outside, so the random hits will not hit it. And now at 4 minutes, the red guys are spawning. These are annoying, and this is partially RNG, just how lucky you get where they are spawning and how quickly you can kill them. It can definitely happen that if you get really unlucky, the bone ball will grow to such a size that you'll be unable to kill him. If you end up getting the red gem like I just did, make sure to also pick up Candelabrador, it helps a lot to hit more enemies. And the last thing that you could take is Brazier. Because you may not have Tarona's box, I will avoid picking that up, but Brazier helps that the enemies die further away. And there we go, 5 minutes in, the bone ball has died. I gotta admit, that was kind of horrible. Pretty much all of the late game characters like Gaines, Rose, Gory, Oni, Space Dude, they can easily take on the bone ball, but I will assume that you don't have them yet. And one recommendation that I had in the past was Porta, as well as Ambrojo for the bonus amount. However, over time the bone ball received a ginormous HP buff, so now it takes too long and there are too many enemies that spawn and feed it. It's still possible, but it's very unlikely that you'll end up succeeding, so instead I would just call it quit. quits here. So yeah, that was my guide to defeat the Bone Ball, but keep in mind the characters and weapons I mentioned early on are meant for a full build. So if you struggle, if none of the cheesy methods work, then just use the characters and the weapons I mentioned, go for full weapons, build up, and then take him down. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, then don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like. See you the next time.